when I had been married for nearly 5 years and then found out that my husband had been having an affair. For me, when all of these things started to fall apart, there was a massive physical effect on me to the way that I started feeling constant anxiety. My skin started breaking out like crazy. I got cystic acne. My hair started falling out in clumps. This was my body's physical reaction to what was going on mentally, which was me trying to go into this survival state where I was like in fight or flight, trying to survive. So today's video is about the red flags that I missed when I had been married for nearly 5 years and then found out that my husband had been having an affair. So I want to put a disclaimer here that if you are experiencing one or even more of these red flags, it doesn't necessarily mean that your partner is cheating on you. These were just things in my situation that I missed. And now, as someone who is in a very healthy, very happy relationship, these are things that I just would not overlook again. This is video 2 out of a 10-part series where I share my story, the things that I learned and how I walked through it and rebuilt my life and found hope and found happiness again. So if you're the girl that is walking through the storm right now, that you watch this video and out of it you take encouragement and hope that this is not the end. Your life is not over. If you have walked through a breakup or an affair, if somebody has betrayed you, that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that it will be okay. Not everybody is like that, and that you may feel like you're at rock bottom, which we will talk about in later episodes, coping mechanisms and dating again and all of those things. But today is really just talking about the red flags that I missed. So now the first one is going to be extreme secrecy. This is a screaming, waving red flag. If somebody is being extremely secretive around you, it's probably because they're hiding something. And we have a pretty good instinct as women when something isn't right, and maybe you're being gaslit. And we'll talk about that later in the video. But going back to extreme secrecy, what I mean by that is if someone is hiding their phone from you, if someone is hiding their computer, their laptop, their messages, maybe they're hiding or changing their code on their phone, or they're turning their phone off at night, there is a very good chance that something is a little bit amiss, because that behavior isn't quite honest, right? It's not maybe overtly dishonest, but it's lying by omission if you're hiding something, right? Now that I'm in a really healthy, happy marriage, I can look back at the behaviors and I can be like, that was so wrong. Like hiding the codes and being really suspicious. Another thing that comes from that is extreme defensiveness. If you were to ask somebody, like, oh, like, what are you hiding? And they get really defensive, that's not a normal behavior, because if you're not hiding anything, why are you being so defensive? Which brings us on to the next one, which is extreme or really sudden defensiveness. If you are asking somebody a simple question, what are you hiding? And they're turning away and they're getting really aggressive about it, or going up an octave in their voice, or being really defensive, just ask yourself why. Why is this person being so defensive if there is truly nothing to hide? The way I see it is that if you're going to commit your life to living with somebody, to being married, to doing life with a person, you need to be on the same page, on the same team, and there needs to be a level of transparency. And sometimes that is not easy when it comes to finances or conversations or hard conversations or past history. Trust me, I've walked through it, but at the same degree, there has to be a level of transparency that comes to allow healthy communication. So if you're getting super defensive, if you're hiding everything and you're acting, whether it's out of shame or humiliation or shadiness, at the end of the day, you are still denying a behavior that is actively happening, and you're getting triggered over things that shouldn't trigger you because you're not acting right. So for me, that is a huge red flag. Guys, this had to be a red flag, and that is dishonesty. Now, I think for a really long time, I thought dishonesty was just lying about something, but lying by omission, omitting a detail, is also dishonesty. And at the end of the day, it's like that is the basis of a healthy relationship, is communication and honesty. So when there is a communication breakdown that starts with one little lie and then it turns into another lie to cover that lie, and before you know it, there is such a massive communication breakdown. Dishonesty, I think, is one of the most dangerous things that can happen in a relationship. And I think as women, sometimes we justify these behaviors on other people that, oh, like, no, he's just really stressed, or, you know, oh yeah, that was him before, or whatever it is. And of course, let's talk about social media. I went back and forth on this for a really long time. Like, can he follow girls? Can he not? All of the things. I think that social media is a gate. It's a gate for our eyes, it's a gate for our ears, and it allows access to other things. So I don't think that my husband of nearly 5 years just woke up one day and he was like, I'm gonna go cheat on Robbie. I think what happened is that there is different things that we as humans experience. We experience different emotions in different seasons, right? So whether it's like loneliness or dissatisfaction, and what do? Well, we try to distract ourselves, so we go to social media, and then, you know, that is the gate. At first it starts with maybe it's following somebody, and then it's, okay, I'm gonna like that person's photo. Oh, now I'm gonna respond to their story. Oh, they sent me a cute DM, and now we're liking each other's messages. You know, like, this is a gate that allows access. So you have to make the decision about, is what that person doing, is it honoring me? And is who I am following, is it honoring that person? I think the older that I've gotten, the more that I've realized is that that matters. Like, there is a level of respect that comes with me being with a person. I'm like, you need to honor me. Like, you need to honor me. So when you're liking that girl's photos in a bikini, is that honoring me? The same way I'm not going to be liking some hot guy with no shirt, his photos, because that's not honoring to my partner. When it comes to apps, like, you might just say, oh, it's just my algorithm, oh, it's just a photo. Well, actually, it's an access point to something so much more. And again, it is such a slow fade. Like, someone doesn't just wake up and decide to cheat. There is so many things that probably happened before that allow for someone to justify that behavior. And I think a really big part of that is social media, the apps that we have on our phone, the movies that we're watching, the music that we're listening to, and especially social media, the photos, the people that we engage with. So to me, it is a red flag if somebody is following a bunch of women and they're engaging with this content that isn't honoring to me. This is a red flag that I missed really, really early on, and that was ignoring what my friends and my family said about this person. So in my case, I grew up with my family, and then even when I graduated high school, I still lived really, really close to them. So they knew me very, very well. My best friends had been my friends my whole life. So when people that you know very well are all saying the same thing, there is probably some merit, and it's at least worth entertaining. So yes, that is a red flag in that person that they're pointing out, but it was also a red flag in me that I ignored all of these opinions. And it's so easy to do when you're young, you're in love, you have these rose-colored glasses on, so you justify behaviors that if you were on the other side of the relationship, you would look at it and you'll be like, would I allow that if that was my little sister? Is that something that I would want her to walk through? And I think for me, that's a red flag that honestly goes a little bit both ways. Another major screaming red flag is manipulation. So that's manipulation in the way of gaslighting, in the way of manipulating arguments to always put them back on that person. And I think a lot of people who have been cheated on have been in relationships with somebody who is extremely narcissistic. And really what that means is that this person is able to manipulate a conversation to put a lot of things back on the other person. There is so much gaslighting that happens. I think if you've dealt with somebody who's a narcissist who can manipulate a situation, the crux of that is that they are able to avoid accountability. And if someone can avoid accountability, then you're not able to ever get to the root of the problem because you get so mentally confused yourself. And I think that in long-term relationships, we allow these seeds to be planted, and they end up growing into these weeds because we aren't able to pull out the weeds because we're so overwhelmed and so confused and so gaslit that we don't even realize that a lot of the mindsets and attitudes and the way that we act is also toxic because it's allowing these things. I think I didn't really understand for a really long time how badly situations could be manipulated. When I found out that my husband was having an affair and he just said, oh, well, I'm not, and fully denied it, and then he came back and then he said that he was, and it was like this emotional roller coaster. It manipulated my mind in such a way that I felt like I was going insane. Like, I felt that what could I have done better? And I begged and I pleaded to try to fix this relationship with somebody who had already checked out a really long time ago. And if you can't have a straight conversation and be honest, then essentially you're gaslighting somebody. And I don't think it was until we had to get the lawyers involved involved that I realized, oh yeah, there is an alternative motive for all of this gaslighting. Guys, let's talk about sexual intimacy. This one might be a little bit uncomfortable for you to hear, especially if you've been in a relationship or a marriage for a really long time. But this is a beautiful part of a relationship that is just between two people. It's a covenant. I don't think I ever understood how serious it was until it got severed. And when you have been in a long-term relationship and there is sudden changes in intimacy or massive shifts in affection, then there is probably something that is wrong. And again, it goes back to the gates, right? We've talked about it. Eye gates, ear gates, porn, social media, access to other women, dating apps. All of these things are so readily available that when something shifts massively between you, it's a conversation you need to have because it is so important. And as soon as that starts to slip, it is just an absolute landslide. And it's really easy when you love somebody to make justifications for them, right? Like, oh, they're really tired, they're really stressed, they had a long day at work, they have a lot on their minds. But when you start to see these patterns happening again and again and again, it's something that you can't ignore, and it is a huge red flag. And the truth is that if you're in a long-term relationship, it's not going to be muy caliente every single day, right? Like, but the truth is this, that you go through seasons and that this is a commitment, and there has to be a level of desire and there has to be a level of attraction to this person. So when something shifts so rapidly, that something probably isn't right. Another major red flag is inappropriate behavior towards others. So maybe this is just ignoring boundaries or crossing them just slightly. Maybe it's that prolonged eye contact or the lingering hand on the back of the back, or maybe it's the social media engagement that we talked about earlier. Boundaries that are crossed lead to really dangerous territory. That's why there are boundaries. It's to protect you, it's to protect that person. And I think when I ignored all of these red flags, they had been little inclinations of these things all along the path that I had just allowed or dismissed or justified in my head. And it's crazy. I look at these things now and I talk about them now and I'm like, how did I allow that? How did I ignore that? And it's when you're in this relationship where you justify things to be with somebody, to try to make it work, to keep pushing, to keep going. I'm already this far and we've been together for 7 years, we're already married. Like, what's the alternative, right? But at the end of the day, it's a choice. Being with somebody is a choice. It's an intentional choice of waking up every single day and choosing to love somebody. And for me, when all of these things started to fall apart, there was a massive physical effect on me to the way that I started feeling constant anxiety. My skin started breaking out like crazy. I got cystic acne. My hair started falling out in clumps. And, this was my body's physical reaction to what was going on mentally. This survival state where I was like in fight or flight, trying to survive. And at the end of the day, there was no survival at all. Basically, it was just me constantly sick, exhausted, drained, tired, and I had no mental energy left. When you do go through a betrayal, there is such a physical effect. Even as we're experiencing all of these red flags and this like shock of all of the things, there is a run-on effect, right? It's the domino that starts all of the dominoes falling. And it's interesting to even sit here and talk about all of this because I'm like, if you could address these red flags before they get to this space, like maybe all of the dominoes don't fall and maybe there is a level of reconciliation that can happen. At the end of the day, marriage is very different than relationships. I think there's maybe a degree of healing that can come in fidelity in a marriage, but I think it takes both parties and very serious coming before God with the right counsel and all of those things. But in relationships, I think that is a very different story. I think betrayal affects us on a spiritual level as well as a physical level. And my hope is that if you're watching this and you're walking through this, I hope that you understand that there is going to be a light at the tunnel and that it will be okay. And that, yeah, it is rock bottom right now. And we're going to talk in the next episodes about what actually happened in my life after I found about all of these things. And these are a lot of the red flags that I experienced and that I missed and that I wish I could go back and just shake that little girl on the shoulders and say, girl, like, wake up. But in saying that, I wouldn't be where I am now. And it's one of those things, like hindsight is 2020. You can see how God worked all things together for good. You can see how he was with you in those moments, but at those moments, it's so hard to actually get through. And I want to speak to the girl who feels like there is nothing left, that she was maybe betrayed by somebody who was her best friend in her life and humiliated. But I will leave you with this. It is truly better to be out of that situation and to know what has happened than to be in it and be naive. Because now you can acknowledge it, you can heal it, you can feel it, and eventually you're going to get to a place where you can and you will be happy again.